nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to a very, very special El Dia Después edition of the Managing Madrid Podcast. We are here recording this on a Monday just after 6 p.m. Spanish time, and we are obviously on the back of Real Madrid beating Barcelona 3-1 in El Clasico. And who better to join me on El Dia Después than the usual guest, Lucas Navarrete. Lucas, how you doing?
Hey, Kiyan, I'm doing fine. It was good beating Barcelona, and it'll be better today when Benzema picks up his Ballon d'Or. So looking forward to that too.
Yeah, that'll happen in a couple, 2.5, no, more than that, because as we were discussing off air, there's the boring ceremony, the awkward thing they do that's really awkward always before they give the awards out. Like, just give us the awards and that's it. I'm happy with that. Take some pictures. But Courtois will sweep up an award as well. Thoughts on Gavi reportedly winning the Copa trophy, which, I don't know. People complain that the Real Madrid PR machine is strong. I gotta tell you, Barcelona PR machine is doing something right as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't see. Look, I get Gavi is a hard-working player and all that, and he has a motor, he has an engine. I don't rate him much, to be honest. I don't think he would be maybe ahead of Ceballos in the rotation in Real Madrid, to be honest. So it's just.
If he was coming up through Real Madrid, he wouldn't have even been featured. Like, I don't think he would have been quote-unquote discovered. But that also has to do with timing and who the players are. Barcelona had no midfield options. They were in a more desperate situation. But Gavi's an okay player, but he's just... Oh, and from what I understand, that particular award is voted by former Ballon d'Or, either nominees or winners, but it's by that one is voted by the players either way. And I think it's probably better served to go towards Bellingham or Musiala. Heck, I'd even put Camavinga in front of him.
Camavinga, yeah, absolutely.
Not because Camavinga played a lot less in La Liga, but just the fact that he came in and bullied three of the best teams off the bench in the Champions League was huge. Anyway, that's for another discussion, I guess. We're going to talk about Clasico. Refresh thoughts a day after. Ewan and I did break it down, but I'm curious to know what was on your mind when you woke up this morning, the smile on your face, describe it, everything that was on your mind.
The main point for me about this game was just how brilliant Kroos was. I think it was one of his best performances in a Real Madrid shirt, and that says a lot about a player who's been here for 7-8 years. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was. I'm running short of adjectives to describe the performance. That's just how great it was. It was absolutely brilliant and magnificent from him, and I just cannot comprehend how he hasn't been extended yet, other than the fact that it's probably his decision. But even if it's still his decision, I just don't understand it. The way he's playing now, I think the fact that he left the German national team has helped his performances quite a lot. The same way probably that Benzema used those FIFA breaks to get in better shape with Real Madrid and stay in Valdebebas when he wasn't being called up with friends. I think it's going for Kroos the same way, and I think he just has to understand the fact that he's been probably the best midfielder in the team so far this season, and it makes no sense for him to retire this early. Even if he wants to go out on top, I think at least one more season makes sense.
I don't understand it. You know, everyone has their own choices in life. They do what they want. Obviously, mad respect either way, but he's got so much left in the tank, you know. And by so much, I mean a lot. I think he has a lot left in the tank. Like, this is not like the twilight of his career.
No.
Yesterday, and I told this to Ewan because I said the exact same thing you said. I said, that may have been the best I've ever seen him play. And Ewan was like, think about what you're saying, because it's Toni Kroos. He's been around for a long time. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but so maybe I was biased towards it because I was there, I witnessed it. But I was watching him play last night, and it's another weird one because usually we bring up like Kroos after every game, especially when fans are like, man, Kroos does nothing. We bring up like these stats. It's like, oh, here's 5 key passes, 17 of 17 long balls, 98% passing accuracy, this many progressive passes into the final third. Last night, it was not any of that. It was just he did what he wanted to do, and no one could stop him. No one could even get past him. Like, he was also a defensive monster. And I just felt like I've never seen it so effortless for him. Like, it really felt like he was in a different level, a different universe to everyone else on the field. No one could touch him. Like, it didn't matter if there was 3 Barcelona players, 4 Barcelona players converging on him. He would just drop his shoulder and go past them all. His passes were great. I don't know. Like, it just felt like he could literally just float around. Like, and he was playing the game from above. Like, you know, I don't feel like, I don't know, am I exaggerating? I really felt like I was never worried once when Kroos had the ball. I wasn't worried about anything. Like, he was just so trustworthy, so reliant, and so good. And yeah, I thought that Kroos performance, I'd have to really go back and like look like what's the greatest Kroos performances ever. But this one was just felt so effortless to him, and the game flowed through him. He didn't force anything, and he was just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to disagree on Kroos' performance yesterday. I think everyone watching the game will agree. So I would like to touch on another player who I think hasn't been mentioned as often as he should have early this season. I've touched on this point maybe in previous episodes and all that, but let's talk, I think, about Carvajal. I think he's been outstanding this season. I think as long as he's able to stay for a long period, an extended period of time, I think he's still the big influence he was 5-6 years ago. Obviously, maybe not in his prime from a physical standpoint, because he was a freak. He was contributing both offensively and defensively back in the day. Maybe not so much offensively now, but I think he was still very good. Obviously, not a great call from a tactical standpoint to go after that kind of pressing in Barcelona's goal. I think, you know, obviously the biggest scapegoat, if you will, or the biggest player to blame in that goal was Mendy, but I think Carvajal wasn't very smart going after that pressing in that particular play either. But overall, I thought he was very good against Dembele, who is a hard matchup, I think, for any kind of player, any kind of right back. So I think Carvajal has been impressive all season long, one of the unsung heroes so far.
That's interesting. I didn't expect you to say Carvajal, not necessarily because I disagree with you, but in terms of like standouts, I guess maybe his performance went under the radar a bit. I don't think he was bad. I also think with regards to, you know, Mendy got scrutinized on the goal, you know, rightfully so, as he did in the game against Shakhtar for letting, I forget the name of the goal scorer, Shakhtar basically just leapt over him. But I do think outside of that, Mendy had a good game. And I think if you look at that one very key moment, yeah, it was a mistake. But he also, you know, all things considered, the amount that Xavi wants to go to the wings and use Dembele and Raphinha over and over and over again, what did Dembele and Raphinha do? And I think the fact that we can't really answer that question or tell you what they did to a large extent has to do with Carvajal and Mendy, who are both really good defensively. And I thought it wasn't just them. Like, in isolation, I think the performances were good, but also the fact that, you know, on the right side, you had Modric and Fede Valverde doing a lot of good defensive work to help. On the left side, Vinicius, who had a quote-unquote poor game, was involved in both goals, did some amazing work defensively to help Mendy, and as did Kroos on that left side. So it was like a combination of individual and collective effort that I think was impressive. I suppose I was just surprised that you brought up Carvajal, because I don't think we didn't talk much about him, so it's good to have that perspective a day after.
It would be too obvious to mention Militao too. I think Militao was the second best performer in Real Madrid. It was obviously man of the match for Madrid was Kroos. Valverde maybe deserves a mention alongside Militao too, but I thought the way Militao kept Lewandowski in his pocket was very impressive. I thought, you know, I regular listeners know that I'm quite critical of Militao when I feel he deserves it. and it's time for me to give him credit. After such a performance last night, I thought we all were a bit worried about Lewandowski, rightfully so. We know how good he is, and Militao was just unplayable for Lewandowski. I thought he was I thought Militao kept him in his pocket.
My issue with Militao was never really, I wasn't too worried about him defensively. Yeah, like last season he had that dip in form on defense a little bit. But for the majority, I was more worried about like how is he going to do under pressure when Barca pressed him. I think he did give it away a couple times, but defensively it was pretty much perfection. Between him and Tchouameni,
yeah,
like anytime Lewandowski had even like a centimeter to shoot or do anything, they just converged. And I think that's where Ancelotti and all the players got it right. It was like, okay, they're going to try to go down the wings. We're going to have help there, but we're also going to be, and this is a testament to also the way Real Madrid have built their current starting 11, is that everyone can do everything. You go to the wings, you have help there. You cut inside, Fede tucks in narrow, Modric is there, Tchouameni is there to converge. Defensively, they played really well. The thing is, and I think often as fans, we tend to highlight like what went wrong. Okay, but look, there was a mistake on this goal, or there was a mistake on this chance where Lewandowski missed an open net, which was offside, by the way. We also have to remember and understand that no team can do this perfectly. There was no such thing as perfection on defense every single sequence. It's impossible. But for like 95% or even more, Real Madrid were great defensively. And you have that kind of defensive performance when everyone, again, this goes also back to not only the tactical setup, but also the unity of the team, the hard work, helping each other out. You give yourself a great chance to win any game. And so like when we talk about Real Madrid, like the fine margins and stuff, well, this is what they do to capitalize on it. So didn't it feel like a little bit like Champions League night in the sense that it's not like we had a million chances, but on the chances we had, we capitalized and we defended well, and there was a lot of that heart and fight till the end kind of stuff. Do you feel that way?
In a way, maybe. But I thought Real Madrid were in control for most of the game, even though Barcelona tried to keep the ball and keep possession during the second half. I wasn't very impressed with Madrid's attitude during the last third of the game, if you will. I thought the first 15-20 minutes of the second half were good, but the last part of the game weren't great, which is why Barcelona ultimately scored and made the game a little bit interesting for the last few minutes until Rodrigo scored a penalty. But contrary to what happened in the Champions League, where I thought that Real Madrid got some lucky breaks, if you will, although obviously they converted their chances and all that, and they deserve a lot of credit. I thought that Real Madrid were a bit, if you will, dominated a little bit in the Champions League more than they did last night. I didn't think Real Madrid got dominated last night. I thought Real Madrid were in control.
That's not what Xavi said.
Yeah, Xavi, I know. He will always say Barcelona were in control. It's what he's not coaching Barcelona for wins. He's coaching Barcelona for them to have a better possession percentage and all that. It's just the way it goes there. So, but I thought Real Madrid were in control even when they didn't have possession of the game. So it was a dominating performance for Madrid. Some fans, and maybe understandably so, can be frustrated about the fact that Real Madrid could have probably scored 4 goals last night. They actually scored 3, but they could have probably scored 4 earlier in the game and make this a better statement or a tougher statement for Barcelona. But I thought Real Madrid pretty much took the foot off the pedal gas after the first 2/3 of the game.
But we didn't have that many chances. Like, it's not like a game where you look back and you're like, whoa, we should have scored this chance and that chance. Like, we had a couple chances and we scored from them. Where I think the argument is, and by the way, this was it ended up 3-1, so you had a 2-goal margin, but yeah, you could have had 4-1, 5-1. But when it was 3-1, you could have easily seen a 4th goal, like one more before the final whistle. When it was 2-0, I think you could have easily gone into half 3-0. Yeah, but I think, so like to your point, because Ancelotti was asked about this. His wording was, we didn't take the gas off the pedal. We just wanted to win. We didn't want to thrash them. That was his explanation, which I think you probably could have been a bit more aggressive if you wanted to, but ultimately I can't complain with a W and a good performance and a game you deserve to win. But I think where the argument is like, could we have created more counterattacking opportunities than what we had? And I think the answer is yes, but we didn't really necessarily get to that stage. Like that, the through ball that Kroos had to Vinicius was just magical. That led to the first goal. That when that happened, I was expecting, okay, we're going to get like 5 more of these at least.
Yeah.
But we just didn't. And so I think maybe the frustration is there that we didn't punish an extremely visible and obvious flaw in Barcelona's backline, which was well scouted and known about, that they just have no answer to that pass. And so I would have liked to have seen more of that, obviously, but we just didn't get it. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was a very good win for Madrid, and one that, should have Barcelona fans a little bit concerned about their team, because, they faced true and real opposition for the first time in the season in the last few weeks or so, and they haven't come out on top many times. So we'll have to wonder.
And this is what I think, and I don't really know how to gauge the Culé fan base, and quite frankly, I suppose I shouldn't really care, but they have to get over this whole thing of playing a certain way, because it's been literally cost them any kinds of success in big games for years and years and years and years. And they just have no answer to it because they just do not defend that way. And the funny thing is, like, it's not even the way Barcelona play under Xavi is not even like the stereotypical tiki-taka. It's like just get it to the wings and cross, hold an extremely defensive high line, and you get burnt, and you also become very predictable offensively. This is not like the Pep philosophy, quote unquote. And Pep's system has evolved over the years as well. It's not like that. So, quite frankly, I shouldn't care, but I'd be interested to see if, like, at this point, people are starting to see that, like, you need some kind of tactical flexibility. This idea of having one certain identity and only playing that way is nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
The most successful team of all time is proving that it's nonsense, because they literally are malleable. Like, that, the answer is right there. Okay, so what else stood out to you? I'm curious to know what else.
I thought it was fair from you to mention Tchouameni as well. I thought Tchouameni offensively wasn't that impressive in his distribution and all that. He had quite a bad turnover in the second half on one Barcelona shot, which went just a bit wide late in the second half. That turnover wasn't great to see, but defensively, I thought that his help was always there for the center backs and also for the full backs. So I thought Tchouameni deserved an honorable mention for his defensive performance.
Yeah, I think Tchouameni was another one that I think had a couple of bad moments, but ultimately was unfair to kind of paint his whole performance a certain way because of those two moments. Like you mentioned that one. There was another one where I think it was Gavi at that point, but I can't remember, where there's a pass. Gavi moves behind Kroos, and Kroos doesn't block the passing lane because he thinks Tchouameni's there, and Tchouameni's not in position. And then Gavi turns and he ends up shooting. I think it's a corner kick, gets blocked, where Tchouameni reacts. Like there's like a couple things like that. But overall, I thought Tchouameni was great in closing the space as well. His positioning was good. He's just not a standout performer to me, but that's because I think the standouts to me were Militao, Kroos, Fede Valverde was amazing. And that's like, I wrote about this today because Xavi said last night that Real Madrid beat us in maturity and not intensity. And I was like, what is the definition of intensity? Because Fede Valverde by himself was more intense than all 11 of your players. And just the fact that, every time Gavi has the ball, like if there was any more intensity, Gavi would have turned into dust. He would have perished last night because he's just bouncing off Mendy, he's bouncing off Fede. Like it's just, I don't know what his definition of intensity was. Maybe his definition of intensity is a high aggressive press, which, okay, then say that, I guess. But intensity, that's just a weird thing to say that we didn't beat you with intensity.
Yep, I agree.
All right. What do we want to talk about? Ballon d'Or, more stuff from the game, upcoming schedules.
Just looking forward to seeing if Courtois is able to rejoin the squad soon. Obviously, he was expected to be a part of the squad for El Clasico. Ancelotti said that he was surely, quote unquote, and I'm quoting, surely going to be involved in El Clasico. He wasn't, and as decent as Lunin has been, if you will, it's the Real Madrid are still conceding goals pretty much week after week, and it'll be good to have some clean sheets here and there, because ultimately those clean sheets will help you win points when the accuracy is in there offensively. So just looking forward to that. Obviously looking forward to the Ballon d'Or for Benzema as well. Great to see him finding the back of the net, as we discussed last week. We both expected Benzema to regain some of his old form against Barcelona. He wasn't particularly great, I don't think, but still managed to score the team's first goal, which is obviously huge in these kinds of situations. So just looking forward to those two regaining their top form very soon, hopefully, for Real Madrid.
And that's the case where we actually improve this season.
Yeah.
It's people will say like, oh, Benzema's form, worried about him. You and I both said we weren't. Scored a goal, scored another great goal, which was offside. It's actually a good thing that we're one of the, I think, only 4 remaining teams that are undefeated in the Big 5 leagues in all competitions too. We've done it without Benzema scoring. And so if we just get Benzema going now, that means we're actually going to be better. Not only better than, we were in the last couple months to start the season, because we have more offensive production now if he gets going, but also possibly better than last season because we just have the new elements of the Rudiger Tchouameni piece to help with the depth. So, the fact, like, we can't discount the fact also that Militao put in that performance last night because we were also able to put Rudiger in Poland against Shakhtar, and Militao got to rest that game. Yeah. Militao, a player who has to go to Brazil for international duty, like, we have to factor that in. Like, yeah, this is a better team. Militao is better because we have Rudiger to give him rest. That invaluable stuff. So I think it's all adding up. I'm not saying the squad is perfect, but certainly reflecting on it now, like Fede Valverde was amazing last night. Would we have seen this if Mbappe had arrived? I don't think we would have. So no. We got to count our blessings in some way. Yeah. Without going too overboard, because let's see what happens, but. Certainly, I think the other thing that was answered, Lucas, was did the 4-0 from last season affect this team? Obviously not.
Obviously.
It was a blip.
Yeah.
Do we have the stat now? How many Clásicos we've won in the past whatever many years? Because we had won 5 in a row up until the 4-0, and now after that 1-game blip, we're back to winning Clásicos.
Yeah.
So it's 6.
I don't have the stat there, but. Yeah. I agree with you. The team might actually be better than last season, which obviously guarantees absolutely nothing in terms of the end product, in terms of winning La Liga, the Champions League. Maybe this Real Madrid team will go trophyless because of an unlucky break or whatever. Football is unpredictable in this regard, but I actually agree with you that this team is better than last season because of the leap of Fede Valverde. Also, Rodrigo has leaped a lot. Obviously, Tchouameni, I think, can help in some regards more than Casemiro did, or at least on a more consistent basis than Casemiro. Obviously, Casemiro showed in big games, but Tchouameni, I think, can be more consistent in La Liga. Definitely, the addition of Rudiger is huge for the team because Alaba and Militao will be able to get some rest. Carvajal is in better form than last season, so I agree. This team is better than last season was, but again, this obviously guarantees nothing, and we don't know if this team will end the season trophyless. It's just a matter of waiting and seeing and hoping that you catch these lucky breaks and that you get the points when some of your key players are missing.
Yeah, the Carvajal point being basically the fact that he's playing and he's playing in form this season is definitely a good one that we didn't really have last season until the run in the Champions League towards the end. And, the elephant in the room kind of, and without wanting to disrespect a Real Madrid legend, is that last night Tchouameni was press resistant. And I think that in itself was, it's not just an individual thing. It also helps the collective. When one person is just a little bit better on the ball when being pressed, it makes the lives of Kroos and Modric much easier. And it's just a domino effect that makes it easier for everyone to escape the press. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tchouameni's, just to wrap it up, I think Tchouameni's own presence by itself helps and makes the life of Kroos and Modric way easier, and makes Valverde more of an not because of understand what I'm saying. Valverde was absolutely crucial last season, his presence, because Casemiro, Kroos and Modric wasn't enough. That trio wasn't enough against some of Europe's best teams. In this regard, obviously Valverde deserves to start and he's contributing, but he's not as indispensable or as crucial as it was last season. And I think in some instances Ancelotti might decide to start Rodrigo because of better offensive production or whatever. I think the Tchouameni, Kroos and Modric trio can do a better job against the top European teams than the Casemiro, Kroos and Modric trio.
It's promising so far. You just hope, like, it's weird because you don't know when it ends. Is it 1 year from now? Is it 3 years from now? Kroos got to get his act together and just basically continue to play football for the next, I don't know, minimum.
They should retire. They should retire together in 2024, I think. That makes sense.
Even that sounds too early for Kroos, but whatever. At the very least, At the very least,
that should be the ideal scenario, in my opinion. Like, Kroos wants to retire on top. He doesn't want to be a bench player, and all that. I think he still has 1 year inside of him when he can be an undisputed starter next season. And Modric, 2023, I can see him accepting another year. So the ideal scenario for me would be 2024. Both decide to walk out and live as the legends they are.
This is the greatest central midfield pairing in the history of football.
Absolutely. And one concluding thought, Kiyan, I watched the game with my cousin this Sunday, and when Modric got subbed off and he received this standing ovation from the Bernabeu, Modric and all that, my cousin said, it's unfair that Kroos has never received such a standing ovation. People don't realize how close the gap is between these two in terms of, how big of legends they are for Real Madrid. I still put Modric ahead, rightfully so. He's the Ballon d'Or winner. He's and all that. We can all agree that Modric is ahead, but the gap is closer than most people think. It's a bit unfair that Kroos hasn't received these kinds of ovations or this kind of treatment from the Bernabeu. Not that he's been treated bad or whistle or anything, but we can all agree that he's not as popular among the fan base as Modric. And again, Modric should be ahead in terms of popularity and in terms of ranking in legends, but I think the gap is closer than most people realize.
It would have been nice to get him off just for that, just to see the standing ovation, because he deserved it. Obviously, what's more important is winning the game and having your best players on the field to the end. But at 3-1, you probably could have done. Although we may have been out of subs by then. I don't know. I wasn't keeping track enough. But
maybe Kroos receives these standing ovations a few times this season, and he reconsiders his stance and signs another year. I don't know. You need to give him this kind of treatment and this kind of tribute in some games, I think. I think he deserves.
There should be Kroos chants every game from now until the season ends from fans just to convince them. There has to be everything that can be done needs to be done. We've never seen anything like this in football's history over this many years, this far into their careers, this amount of greatness. Two players like this, Modric and Kroos. Can already people
forget about Xavi and Iniesta, please?
I can already hear people from other fan bases like them shouting right now. But this many years, this consistent, this far into their careers, no, it's not even close. It's not close.
No.
So it's just incredible to see them play together even at this age. And Kroos had that tweet about the Fede being in the top 3 right now. And the joke was, obviously you and Modric are 1 and 2. And I don't even think that's not even a joke. That's actually if I'm doing a draft of central midfielders in world football right now, I'm taking them 1 and 2. The exception is if I can get Kevin De Bruyne in my team.
Yeah.
But you can basically, convince yourself, okay, maybe you take him like an attacking role or whatever. But whatever, like.
Yeah, I get it.
Because Modric still, he's not past he's not playing worse than he was when he was 28.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So
it's great. It's great.
Yeah. All right, Lucas, let's wrap it up here. We got mailbag on Thursday, so people can submit their questions over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid and then get access to that podcast also on patreon.com/Managing Madrid, where we do every single Champions League post-game show exclusively for patrons and mailbags for patrons, and then we do Tuesday tapas for patrons. So at the very least, you get 2 to 3 bonus episodes per week if you're a patron. And if you're not a patron, you should get in on that. It's cheaper than your Starbucks coffee, and you only have to pay $3 once a month. So do that. Get inside. Get a ton of value. Join an ever-growing Real Madrid family. Lucas, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kiyan. Looking forward to the first NBA talk on Thursday after the tip-off tomorrow.
We already have a question or mailbag about the NBA. So
all right,
we already have one coming in. Yeah, it's about Wembayama. So.
Nice.
Your Wembayama highlight reels from now until Thursday. You can do.
Yeah. All right, bro.
All right, Lucas. Thanks, man. Take care.
You too. Travel safe.
All right. Before we put a bow on this and send you along on your way to enjoy the rest of your day, we wanted to give a quick shout out to our patrons over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid who do so much to support the show. And if you pledge $10 or more, not only do you get access to every single bonus content we put out like every other patron does, but you also get guaranteed responses to your questions, and you get a specific shout out on the podcast. So shout out to these $10 plus patrons as follows: Brandon Alvarez, Willie Reed, Will Sousa, Wei Pering, Wamik Jamal, Tobias Royo Botcher, Tariq Goktas, Talib Salhab, Tahmid Kalam, Sushank Damala, Sujai Wani, Sumanchu Singh, Sheikh Hatiri, Shamil, Shabal Sharapov, Sergio Arispe, Santos Solorzano, Samuli Justin, Samer Z, Said Mahad, Sai Mohan Sasi Kumar, Rodrigo Balmaceda, Rishi D, Phoenix, Peter Powell, Paulo Fierro, Patrick Odayafari, Oscar Barrera, Nico Laxo, Nicholas Zapatero Zubiare, Nicholas Moeller, Mowgli, MJ Diego, Nick Ribeiro, Michael Zinberg, Marin Myrtle, Matthew Atkins, Martin Ridman, Magnus Lext, Logan Stahl, Leon Stavronakis, Kunal Tilakar, Crystal Glass, Kevin Rivera, Jose Cruz, John Fernandez, Jeff Thurston, Jason Fitz, Ian Marley, Graham Gerard, Gary Kohut, Frederick Rantakiro, Frederick Sundros, Faisal Hamdan, S.A. Davisito, Eloy Enriquez, Edward Sossman, Daniel Williams, Con P, Christian Toth, Christian Acosta, Charles Williams, Brendan Powers, Brandon Stevens, Ashik Bashar, Armand Gashi, Armando L, Antons Rudenko, Anirudh Singh, Ananya Kumar, Alex Steiberg, Al, Azaz Hussein, Adrian Rios, Adar Zalukovic, Adam Dorsey, Bella Chow, Varun, Ramtin Maghrur, Fabian Moreno, and Daniel Smith. You guys are legends. Thanks for being a part of the family. We look forward to seeing you guys on many more future episodes, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Hala Marid.